It is Afro Economics Live. Thank you for sharing your Wednesday night with me. I got Miss Greenwich in the studio. I got Miss Davis. We got Virginia and Georgia representing in the place on time. I love it. I love it. I love it. They are the answer. It is Afro Economics Live, and I love tonight's discussion. And I'm putting up this flyer, and I'm going to make sure that I take it down in a second. But I want you to have this on file, and that this is our event coming up. Let me show it again. The Women on Wealth, that is October 29th, 2021. You might be watching this in 2025. No, we appreciate you. And it was great. But that is at Virginia Union University. And they asked me to come out and talk about entrepreneurship and women, and something that, hey, y'all know that's what we do. I started the Afro Economics Business Network so that I could share all of my experiences that I've had since I started my firm. I believe that a big part of why God put us here is to make sure that we make life better for those who come behind us. So if I have anything that I can help another entrepreneur, another professional, another person get through and have a better go at life, that's what I truly believe that I'm here to do. How you doing, Miss Charles? Thank you so much. Thank you. Uh-oh. Everybody in the studio, please turn on your camera. Mr. Lewis and Mr. Robinson. I can't believe the ladies are presenting tonight. Thank you, Miss Greenwich. You are doing it. I indeed. I'm gonna see if we can get Miss Davis in here. Uh-oh. Yeah. Look, look. And the guys don't want to show their face. Oh, look, we got M and ML. That's Mr. Lewis joking on me because I call him Mr. Lewis all the time. But yeah, we got see, we got Mrs. Goddard. Look, the ladies showing off.
And I never show my face.
Just well, I'm glad it's good to see your face. Indeed. And the microphone is all the way live. Well, I am glad. Thank you so much. Y'all don't go too far. Stay there with me. How you doing, Mr. Jones? Oh, you want to chat tonight? Well, that's good. That you gonna chat. And Miss Charles, you representing Mr. George and Mr. Wynn. Thank you. Definitely. See, my people in the studio or have my back, they can only chat to me directly. They can't put it on the chat screen. So look, everything is a give and take. But thank you. It takes a lot of Wednesday night because it's late and a lot of people don't want to show their face. Oh, but I appreciate you. Who is that? Look at that. Miss Davis came back. And then there's like a screen with me in it down there. I don't know. That's probably something that I did. I did incorrectly. I want us to talk about inflation. Inflation, y'all. How we're gonna cut, our own personal inflation and what inflation really represents. What it represents to us. All of y'all that are out there, and I see you. Make sure you chat. Say hello to everybody. Say hello, especially to me. All you are is a number until you say something. So please chat so that I can see you talk or come in the studio. I like for members to come in and so that you can ask me some questions as we go through the meat of it. So I want to start with that like what is inflation and why is it such a big discussion? You keep hearing you know inflation, they talk about it, even on regular news. They say, oh, inflation is higher, and we know this. You know it. You know it because you're the one that's going out and buying things. So inflation is the increase in the price that you have to pay for the items that you're buying. And sometimes inflation could be in things that don't matter to you as much. You might healthcare expenses are going up, and you might be a very healthy person, so you don't have to worry about the cost of healthcare. But you might, but also, we see an increase in. Do you see this? Do you see that? Like, what is the price of things that you think have gone up the most, Miss Greenwich? What do you think? What has gone up the most, Miss Goddard?
Groceries,
You think groceries? Yeah.
groceries, and prescriptions.
Yes, indeed. Exactly. And you on your way out of prescriptions. You ain't even gonna have to worry about them anymore. You look
Uh,
so good and healthy. What about you, Miss Davis? She's at work. I know that's what she's trying to go back and forth, doing everything.
Hey everybody, can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. You are on
Oh,
it.
I think gas has gone up a good
Mm,
bit.
mm,
And just
mm.
like I was on vacation here a couple of weeks ago, per gallon, $4 out in Hawaii. At least
Wow.
it's about $3 over here in Georgia.
It
I don't know
was
how
four
it is
dollars a
everywhere.
gallon? It was
Four
$4.
bucks,
in Hawaii.
$4, four.
Mhm.
What? Oh, I don't know what that's about. They might have, like, what do you think? More taxes on it or something? That's amazing.
Probably it's a little bit harder to get into the island, perhaps. And the more difficult these things are, the more expensive
Uh,
is my thinking.
yeah, that's true. Because they bring it to us. It goes through a whole pipeline that's all connected and
Uh-huh.
everything. And that's a. I was thinking it's on the water. All they gotta do is pull the ship up, give it to them. But it's not that easy.
Not that
So
easy.
that's a very good point. What do you think, Miss Goddard? What has gone up for you?
Well, definitely with the oil going up, even just getting an oil change on your vehicle has
Service,
increased.
service in
And,
general. That's so
and
good.
yeah, and I found out when I was in Texas a few years ago that sometimes when they do illegal dumping and then they've been charged on that, because they did the wrong thing, they pass that on to us.
I
So
know
even
that's right. I
yeah,
know that's right. That's a good point. Everything, like when the company gets punished, it passes on to the consumer, right? If they continue to attack Facebook and then Facebook gets charged, you know, millions of dollars of a fine of somehow it is going to get passed on. They will continue to be a profitable company. So it will get passed on even
I'm
if it's on
interested in knowing
the. Mhm.
I'm interested in knowing, since we're here from different states, what's happening with real estate. I know in New Jersey, people are getting $200,000 more for their homes that they're selling. I know it's
Yeah.
partially due to COVID.
I've seen it, but I'm seeing it slow down now, it seems. We have a member in DC a couple of months ago. If she listed her house, it would have been sold within days. Now, prime property right in the middle of DC, gorgeous property, and it hasn't sold and it's been 2 weeks.
Um,
Not offers. She's had to come down on the price.
um,
So, definitely I think that we're definitely seeing a slowdown, in the purchases. So look, that's a very good point. Look, Mr. Wynn said that his last oil change was $79. That's madness. That's He said on. I'm glad that you added that. Exactly. You are good. He said on a Chevy. I was about to say, well, it depends on what kind of car it is. For real, it really does. Cause I remember when I used to spend a lot of my money on luxury cars, it would be $150 for an oil change. And that was years ago. So now it all just adjusts. So now luxury cars are paying probably 250, at least 200 for an oil change. That in they now that also for dealerships, the service of these cars that people are holding on to has to be the way that they can make money. So again, expenses get passed on to the customer. It's just harder, and you have to be more creative, unfortunately, to be profitable. Hello, hello, hello. That's right. That's right. Hi, Jenny Jones out there. I see you. How you doing, Miss Fleming? I can't believe we got Cheryl Fleming out there. We're gonna get you on camera, then I'll know that I can do anything. How you doing, Queen Howard? Yes, indeed. I want y'all to ask. So we know that the price of things are going to go up. I'm gonna give y'all a little break, and then I want you all to come back and help me a little bit more. And I have some. So let's go in. Let me go into um my file cabinet and share some information with you. I want to share screen. I want to share something, and then this will help illustrate what inflation really is, what its impact of inflation has been on us over time. So here I'm going to share this. I found this, and I'm not sure how it looks to you, but I hope you can get up. Let me see if I can. If I move the chat a little, does that help? And and then the so look at this. This is I love it. This I'm gonna do like this, and I think I'm gonna shrink it down a little bit just so you can see where it came from. So on this is a chart I found online that goes back to 1925 all the way to 2021. And then it shows $1,000, $1,000 in 1926, and that $1,000 at the rate of inflation, at which from 1926 to now, inflation has been approximately 2.9%. And so, as a financial advisor, my goal is to try to get you to invest in things that have outperformed at least inflation. But your real return on your investment is your investment return after taxes and after inflation. That's what's considered your real return. How you doing, Mr. Jenkins? So a lot of times when we look at the return and it says, oh, this is paid out 2%. This paid out, say, let's say you had something that paid out 3%. And you were like, well, at least I made that. But then you had to pay taxes on that 3% because it wasn't in a tax deferred account. So you had to pay taxes on it. So then you lost, say half of that between federal and state, half of your 3%, you got down to 1.5. And then if the rate of inflation, meaning the buying power of your money, has the buying power has gone down because the price of things have gone up on average of at least say 2%. So you were at 1.5% return before the cost of things went up 2%. So you're at a negative return on your money. So you need your investment to actually do better than that 3%. And then you want to have tax rates. So that's why I talk so much about taxes. It makes sense, right? Because if I can get you into to believing that you how much you save and help yourself by avoiding taxation for as long as possible on your money, you can see that you're getting that how much that can help your real return. So when someone says, well, you might as well pay taxes because you got to pay them sooner or later, Miss Grandage, when is the best time to pay taxes? Later. Let me tell you, sooner or later, right? You know what I'm saying? Well, let me do it later. You know what I'm saying? Let me, because the cost of things might actually be down later when you actually have to take that money out. But so that you get to avoid, not evade, but you get to delay taxes when you put it into an account that'll allow for tax deferral of your growth. So it allows you to also reduce your taxable income now, and you don't have to pay taxes on the earnings. And there's another investment that works kind of similar to that. You can when you buy a stock. or you buy a real estate, you buy a property, especially the property if you buy something to live in, you know, then and it's most affordable. Say you purchase something and it's affordable. See what happens is a lot of people buy things and they put it into that sector of the market. Say they put all of their money into just the real estate sector because and then their payment is so big that they can't do anything anywhere else. So then that stops them for getting the possibility of any other investments. So if you have, so if you see here, if you look at over the last 50 years, US stocks, international stocks, bonds, treasury bills, and the rate of inflation, the one that gave you over the last 50 years the highest chance of outpacing inflation was stocks. But if you look over back near the beginning, and you'll see like this was 1931. And look, this is, the market, US stocks down 85%. Balanced portfolio, meaning has stocks and bonds, down 59%. The life expectancy in the US was then 60 years old. Whoa. And 64 for a woman. Our life expectancy, let me see if they have it on there now. Yeah, our life expectancy now is 76 years old for a man and 81 for a woman. Wow. That's that's if you think about it like that's 81. I have a lot of clients and parents that are living past 81. So it means that you have to have your money to outpace inflation. And it's not really that hard. And look at all these categories, this the cost of living. The hardest part, the cost of living, I'm saying the inflation rate. Can you see my pointer when I'm doing that? When I put this up, can y'all see the pointer when I go through it? When I'm over there? I don't know. I'm not. But when I'm here, I hope you can see me play on me do that on the page. Make it bigger and smaller. You see that? Okay, great. But the challenging part is effective use, and I'm gonna stop. I better stop sharing this. The effective use of your money during times, especially when the cost of things are higher. Are you still investing? Are you still saving when things cost more? Or are you buying more things at higher prices? Like Paula said, this, real estate market, what do you think? Like, are you buying things now because it's exciting, but you also know that you're paying too much because you're paying more than the appraised price of it? Would you do that if you were actually buying a stock investment and it was trading, and you knew the real price that it should be? And then they said, but, for you, we're going to charge more, so you're going to pay this. Like, would you really do that? Because you have just that much control. We have that much control over all of our financial decisions. We like even if we're going to buy a car now, you're buying the car most likely at a premium because it's hard for them to get to the parts. This is what they're saying. So you might find that they're not negotiating with you on the price and things like that. Do you really need it? I believe that during times like this is where superstars are made. Because this is where, if you know how to delay your gratification on the unnecessary stuff, how well you can do. Like over the past year, how many of your friends focused on maximizing their savings into their retirement plan at work versus how many of them told you they were going on vacation. Now, maybe they did, but I know a lot of people who actually, I mean, I don't know them, but that actually went on vacations. But what an opportunity to actually save some money, invest some money. Because if the cost of things continue to go up and the market continues to go down, if you were saving that money, you're able to take advantage of a huge buying opportunity right now. Because as you see, based on historical performance from 1926, that graph looked like it was going what? Up. Like if you look at over short periods of time, then okay, it might seem pretty dramatic. I don't know if you can see this, but like that over short of time, you see this like 1929, 1930 is down dramatically, and then it's back up in 1932, and then like all of these little things that look like they might look like it's major bad happening. I'm like it even has this graph even has like when world Hor- the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a global health crisis. That looks like nothing now. That looks like nothing now. How many, how many people like really lost it? Like it's probably said like, "Oh my goodness. I I better get out of this. This is the worst thing in the world." And then now we're looking at hindsight like I don't know that we might have a time that's much worse than that, or we might never see a low like that again. But in order to make sure that your style of living is enhanced, that when it really matters is when you get older and you want to have a lump sum of money, or a business, or an asset that's big enough to feed you. That's when it really matters. So if we're always spending when others are saving, it's going to work to our disadvantage because when others are spending, that's when we need to be investing because they're spending money and they're helping the businesses that you can invest in make money. We need to, look at this time period as a time to go inside of yourself, to go inside of your personal financial goals of is there more money that I could be saving every month? I can't tell you how often I talk to people and they tell me, well, I'm just going to buy such and such, but I'm not going to spend that much on it. As if wasting a little bit of money is okay. And what you think is a little bit of money is actually a lot of money to somebody else. And what you think is a little bit of money, did you see that $1,000? $1,000 from 1926. So we have been allowed as a people to invest in that market in 120 and look and then 1,000. Now I'm first stockbroker in my family, and I'm relatively young, so we ain't have any chances of all of this. And then when the firm that I started work, you know what I mean, in the early 90s, like they had a history. One black lady told me that she wouldn't invest with me at that firm because they would never allow her husband to open up an account there in my lifetime. That 1,000. So we're talking about uh, the challenge of discrimination. You have to see that not allowing us to participate, that $1,000 is over $9 million now. $9 million. Now, I'm not saying that we have to play like any type of like catch up, because I really don't know how we could do that. How do you catch up to that? So, but what I'm saying is we have to make the most effective use of every dime that God blesses us with. And way too much money in our community gets wasted. It gets wasted. Every 90% or more of every dime that I make is put into the business that you see. Every bit. I mean, I think I'm just saying 90, but my husband would tell you no, it's 100. I put it back into building this dream, because this is our opportunity to create something more. This is our opportunity. This is our, and when I say our, I'm talking about you and me. That I have a responsibility to help you bring your whole generation forward, because we are now at the 1926. Let's just say this is the beginning. And from the rest of our lives, we're not going to ever say, like, I'm just going to waste this money. Because there's a lot of people who do a lot of things with their money. Like, there are people in our community that go gamble, but then they're afraid of the stock market. Now, I have historical performance that I can show you. You know what I mean? I can show you that. I can show you the historical performance of the stock market. But I can't show you the historical performance of that machine that you think it's okay to sit at. Like, it's not okay. It's not okay to waste it. Well, I just know exactly how much. I don't care how many casinos, gaming, things they bring to our community, until you have paid off every bill in your house, until you have actually maximized the savings, so much so that your employer says you can't put any more in. And if you own your own business, you know that you don't have any money to gamble with. Our gamble is our business. We're trying to build something. But I mean, isn't that amazing where we've been, like, misled, that we have, somebody, especially the people that, may be blessed to work at a great job, and you think that this will be okay. I'll always have this job. I can't tell you how many times over my career I have seen people get shot after 30 years or more, and the job says, we don't need you anymore. Here's what you get. They're blown away, because pension is not an inflation hedge. Believe me. So if you're at a job and they said they're going to give you a pension, that pension does not adjust in most cases for the cost of gas going up and doubling. That pension check does not adjust for the cost of Medicare going up every year. Y'all feel me on this? Like, there are certain, pension is not like you're thinking about your future, and you're thinking, well, yeah, oh my goodness, Frank is here too. My bestie, Frank Fleming. How you doing, Cheryl? Yes, indeed. I that I I think that we just get this this unnecessary confidence about that the work, that your job is going to make sure that your retirement is secure, when the cost of living during retirement goes up. That's what inflation means. If you really want to think about it, you know what I mean? In reality, like, inflation is, we're trying to find something that will help you increase or keep up with costs of paying your bill. So you get there and they told you your pension check is $4,000, and the $4,000 of a sudden get smaller and smaller. No, I met this lady one time, and she had about $4,000 coming in retirement income, and because it was a government job, she wasn't going to get Social Security. She was a SERS, so they only get that pension. They get a pretty larger pension check, but that's it. They don't get Social Security if that's the only job they ever worked. So she bought a car. She bought a car that took her and all of her basic mortgage, car, other expenses up to that check, up to her entire check. And think about if the maintenance on that car goes up, like Kenneth said, it's now $80 to get, and she bought her new car. It's a luxury car. So she asked me, well, JV, I don't think I'm bringing you in. I'm sorry, Miss Granted, you were in the middle of y'all. And she said, JV, I don't think, I don't know what do you think I should do? Because, and this was before we get into this, high inflationary time now. And I said, well, hey, everybody makes mistakes. But if I were you, I would take the car back. I would take the car back. She said, well, what? Guess what she said? What do y'all think she said? What do you think she said? Just guess, like
Never
what she said.
that.
Yeah, she said, I like my car.
Yeah.
I like my car, and it was a nice car. It is a nice car. You know what I'm saying? It was a nice car. But I said, but you asked me what I would do. I said, like, you know what I'm saying? What I would do is like, hey, I made a mistake. I either try to sell it to somebody. And she just got it like a couple of weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? And she had tried to take it back, and they said no. That we don't have the lemon law or something like that in her state, and blah blah blah. And it wasn't a lemon anyway, so you couldn't say that it was bad. It was a great car. She just couldn't afford it. So it's like, what? So she says, "No, I like my car, and I'm going to keep it." And I was thinking to myself, "Well, why'd you ask me? Like, what would I? I mean, I guess it's still valid. Like, ask me what you're going to do. But if you're not going to do, but I feel that in inflationary times, we do need to investigate what are the unnecessary expenses that we have. And I believe that we are in a time where everybody in a household does not have to have a car. Everybody has a car. And then the member that was saying she was selling her house in the city, in the district, she was saying it doesn't have a driveway, and that some people had said it doesn't have a driveway. That's gonna be a problem because I have to park on the street. And I said, well, what they should be looking at it as, I'm in the middle of everything. I don't even need a car. So at least they're putting. It's much better to put your money into the house payment than to put the money into the car. So I told her, I said, don't look at that like as a deal, like that you have to settle, because it's not. Because there is somebody who works from home who doesn't want a car payment, you know what I'm saying? And wants to be located in the middle of everything and on the bus route and can get Uber, can get Lyft. We have all of these ways to transport ourselves now. We are really Many people are robbing themselves with their car payment. Your car payment is keeping you from becoming a millionaire. Really. I mean, there's a lot of people. If you factored in the the same investment, I mean, look at what that $1,000 did. You know what I mean? Over time, using the U.S. stock market as the example, it turned in 1,000 in 1926, turned into over $9 million. So can you even, you know what I'm saying? So think about, if you were making, some better, decisions. It's not like it is a necessity for you to have all of the expenses that you have. And I have to figure out, like, I know, Ms. Walton, you asked me a question, and then I have to figure out, because the it lets I'm gonna take that logo down so I can see. Oh, you said, um what most companies call an inflation rate doesn't even cover the inflation. I know that's right. It doesn't. Like they might say, that you're getting and a 1% raise for everybody, and then all of us, and then the rate of inflation be 3% or whatever. And I think when we look at a national inflation rate, a national increase of what the government will say that inflation is, 1.5%. So your social security is going to go up 1.5%. That is for everything. That's not for your particular area of the universe. So where you live, inflation may have impacted you a lot more than another person. Like some person may live in a rural area and the cost of things actually go down or something. And you may live in an urban area and the cost of things actually inflate even more for you. But I believe that strategically, we all can be more careful with our money and how we use it and how our money is actually utilized for us, how we put our money to work. You want to fight inflation with your money? Do like Miss Goddard did. Like do like she did. I'm gonna highlight her and embarrass her a little bit. But like she investing in herself right now. She's went to graduate school. That is a huge way to fight inflation. That is a she didn't think about it when she was doing it, like, oh, I'm fighting inflation. But what it does is if you start investing in yourself, you're positioning yourself to actually make more money. And what better time, you know what I mean, to do it than during a time where everybody wants you inside anyway. She said, if everybody you can work from home, you can do everything from home, why not take some classes and finish, you know what I mean, another graduate degree? That's a positive. But in investing in yourself, starting your own business, an inflation hedge, allowing yourself to be in a position if prices are going up, be in a position of having something to sell that you can charge more for. You don't, if you're only a consumer all the time, then you're going to feel inflation more than someone is actually selling something. But one thing we do though, especially because we're very real estate heavy as a people, is that you see that inflation is going up, the cost of maintaining your property is going up. We have to make sure that when you do a real estate contract and you're renting your home or rooms to someone, that you put an inflation rider in there. The cost of this room, the cost of renting here, the cost of this has to go up as well because your expenses are going up repeatedly. I see people who Miss Goddard was saying she worked 2 jobs while in grad school. Amen. Paid for them out of pocket. Yes. No student loan debt. That's a blessing. But definitely so let me share that. You see, I don't know. Let me look at some other. Let's look at some, but great way to protect yourself from inflation, as see it as an opportunity and a time. And I think, oh, where I was going with that was talking about on your rental properties, making sure I see too often people who start with a particular rate that they charge the renters, but they never increase the price. So you have to know at the beginning you're not going to want to increase the price. Nobody is going to want to pay you more. So, what you have to do is put it in the original contract that this is going up every year. Matter of fact, you can put the year and the amount. 2021 rent is this. 2022 rent is this. 2023 rent is this. Put it in there for the next 10 years. Put it in the contract what the rent is going to be so that you don't have to worry about calculating it. You calculate out 5% higher every year. This is what it's going to be. And then when everybody on good terms and they happy to be there and they want it, they understand their worst case scenario. It's good for them and it's great for you. Be it, take your business seriously and protect yourself from inflation, because it's going to cost you more to get a new refrigerator up in there. But you still got them paying the same rent from 10 years ago. It's better for them to stay there and rent from you than go get a house very easily, because if they were anywhere else, or even if they were buying their own, the cost of living in it is gonna go up. Mm. Even if you're in it and you are buying the house, making the payment, and you have that payment might stay the same, but what's gonna go up? Property taxes, insurance, it's going up. That's inflation. If it's going up faster than your income, that's a problem. And that can easily happen. That's why you have to have, you know, some growth, or you have to be very conscious of your expenses. You have to be very conscious of your expenses. A member told me today, she said, "You told me to look at my budget." And she said, "I realized that that I had spent over almost $1,000 to random people who wanted money from me last month." How does that affect rent control? Rent control, they definitely have another contract, you know? Because if you have if somebody owns a property that has rent control, oh my goodness, Miss Charles, did you hear about this black man that owned a property in New York, and he's losing? I don't know if they were able to save it, but he was losing his property because there was rent controlled rent, and that tenant was still in it, and they were paying like extremely small amount. So he had to, like, he was in there, maybe it was like, say, a 4 unit or something. This is a true story, but I just don't know like how it ended. But it was just talking about that the rent control contract, that same family was in it so long that he had to move out and rent his space to someone else in order to pay for and keep his own building. It's like he had to like move in with his kids or something like that. It was like sad. But yeah, but rent control is a contract and developed by municipalities to protect the renters. Where if you're not in an area that has rent control, hey, look how blessed you are. So if you allow them to have rent control because you didn't put an inflation rider on your contract, then you're jacked up. You gave them rent control. No, unless you just break the contract, and it's real hard to try to negotiate something like that later. I'm sure a lot of you know that. Like, you get to be very careful on what you do, with your property on the onset to protect yourself from inflation. I'm glad that I thought that, because I wasn't even thinking about that. But definitely, real estate, is an investment that over the long term, you know what I mean, will generally do okay for you, especially if you're living in the actual property yourself. That if you pay for it long enough and you pay it off, typically you'll come out ahead. I have seen members who have a house that, because the neighborhood went down, the house is actually worth less than they paid for it like 40, 50 years ago. It's hard to imagine, but it happens. We just don't think so, but at least they did get to live in it. So it did give them some, value there, because they did live there. It gave them somewhere to live. But now it's like the that generation is gone, so that property has to be sold, and it has to be sold at a loss. You don't even have to worry about capital gain, because it's not worth as much as what the parents paid for it. But as you saw in the graph that I shared, that stocks tend to outpace the cost of living. Historically, the historical performance, stocks tend to be a great way of outpacing inflation. But you have to be able to muster these types of storms that we've been seeing. There's been increased volatility on the stock market. Talk to the Federal Reserve that the cost of things are going to continue to be high, high increase, high inflation, for another year or so. So what does that mean for us? That means, if you're in the market, in the stock market, you have to be in it for the long term. There's also there's investments, like there are actually treasury bonds that are connected to the inflation rate, because the government decides the inflation rate. They decide what your inflation rate is. We never get those numbers that they get, because we know the cost of educating a child is way higher than 1.5%. The cost of buying gas has gone up way more than that, and servicing your car. And like, how do they get to these low inflation rates? It's amazing. But they just average everything together and they bring it down, and then they decide that's what they're going to pay on these inflation protected bonds. And now they actually have these inflation protected bonds within inside exchange traded funds. So we can put them inside portfolios if it were like a conservative investor that wanted um, bonds, and they wanted bonds through stocks. So we can actually buy bonds through through the stock market using ETFs or even mutual funds. But I try to focus on exchange traded funds, and once you join, I can explain to you a lot more about the, the differences between ETFs and regular full loaded mutual funds. There's some big differences. You're talking about protecting your investments from inflation. Right in alignment with that is protecting your investments from fees and expenses, and making sure that you're getting the most out of your money. So at Afro Economics, we're committed to making sure that clients have very good um, opportunities to avoiding full loads. So we say, that increases, you can have the same investment and you're paying a big sales charge on it versus that same investment without the sales charge, and look at the huge difference in what you get to keep as the investor. I've seen like there's companies that actually market the same fund to no load, and then they put a sales charge on it, and then they market it to our community. I've seen it. Yes, it's sad, but we have to, you know, but it's up to us as an investor to put yourself into a position of getting information, getting knowledge. That's what the difference of working with a registered investment advisory firm, where I'm legally required to work in your best interest, and then, or just working with someone who um, is, I don't even know what they would be. So you have to make sure that you're dealing with a registered investment advisor. That means the person works for you, not the product. Huge difference. Great question, Ms. Charles, about rent control. So then also, another, so we talked about stocks can be an investment hedge. Oil, sometimes during high inflationary people start looking at ETFs that might be into gold or even silver. That might, like, you'll see an interest in, and those are seen as commodities. So you just have to be careful, because they're going to be a lot more volatile, and you have to be ready to take on additional risk. So a big part of mine is just doing a risk analysis and making sure that you're able to stomach some of the things that you might ask me about. And then we talked about so just knowing that your investments can be tailored to position you for long-term growth that will outpace inflation. Historically, a great tool for outpacing inflation is the stock market. And you can use the stock market to buy a lot of different class of investments. All stocks are not created equal. They're not. So a lot of the technology stocks right now are taking a hit because of this high inflation. They're saying that this might mean that it's going to be harder for smaller companies and technology companies to actually finance their growth. um, so some investors get fearful. Some investors, like myself, still say for the long term growth potential, I would still focus on growth if the person has an appropriate risk tolerance for that exposure. But you have to be in it for the long term. But based on historical performance, long term growth stocks have been great at outpacing inflation. So the but that's for you to do. That's why your money has to be at work. Your money, when they say, "Oh, put your money to work," that means you need to get in your a position of having an investment advisor help you maximize what you are doing. Not, I don't care if you only have $1, that dollar needs to be used productively. Mm. Tell us why, and tell us what tomorrow. Today is up, tomorrow is down. Why is that happening? That's right. I know Miss Davis was asking him like, why is this happening? Then Miss Cheek said, "Oh, what about Bitcoin?" Yes, indeed. So the why let's focus on why the market is being so volatile. A lot of the goodness of today was because Congress looks to like they're going to reach an agreement on this. So the market tends to be uncomfortable with uncertainty. The short term market, the day to day. My job is to focus on when I'm looking at stocks on the long term and look at making sure we're in the right areas for long-term growth potential. Because no matter what your age is, you need to have long-term growth. Now, so this is just a good time for allowing yourself to see what that the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. The market is really reacting to anything that comes out of Washington right now, and they've just been giving us a lot. So, but if you're in the stock market and the money that you have in the stock market needs to be poised for these short-term changes don't matter so much. Your portfolio needs to be strong and made up of strong companies. And that's up to you and your financial advisor. And that's my job with you, Ms. Davis. So Ms. Cheeks was asking about Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is not an actual stock. They're doing it. They and we don't know who they are, but the powers behind Bitcoin is actually doing everything they can to try to get the Securities Exchange Commission to accept Bitcoin as a security, but it's not. It's a currency. It's a form of paying for things. And the price of it is just based on supply and demand and what some computer said the value is. You know, now you're talking about risk. There's risk of the stock market, which is regulated by the Securities Exchange Commission. And then there's all those unregulated things. That's a whole nother level, Miss Cheeks. Like that is um, for an investor who says, I understand the risk involved and they want to venture into that asset class. And I will talk to them about it, the pros and cons, and review it along with them during their time when we're reviewing their portfolio. Do advise people on that. Often, a lot of things like that, people kind of just close their eyes and take money that could be spent on some really good stuff, and they put it into things they don't quite understand. And I'm not an advocate of that. Like, the word God tells me, that if we're a good guardian over few things, that He'll give us many. And so I try to be very, very careful. Not that we don't make mistakes, but I just don't have any money to waste. I don't have any money to waste. So And it's not to say that some people say that they have made some money, and I'm just like, that is great. But as a regulated, licensed person, I definitely pull more to the side of, I want to know, be able to do a check balance. I want to, make sure that I have some historical performance. I have a office location, contact number, a business that they're actually investing in, but that's not to say that I just feel that is mine. That is just my opinion. That I do like to see my clients like just sleep well at night. Just sleep well at night. Don't waste any money. And I can show you a whole bunch of things that you can do well on without taking on extraordinary risks. And the market often reacts to the news of anything. Exactly, Mr. Jones. He said the news. Yeah, any news, especially bad news. If they come back tomorrow and Congress says, I hate all of you, I don't want to talk to any of you until November, there'd be a problem. But for the wise investor that understands what they're invested in, see, the person who loses their mind over short-term changes in the market is a person who doesn't really know what they're invested in. And that's my job. But if I see, someone out there and, they're doing crazy things, it just means they don't have any advisor. They don't have, they a lot of times people are taking advice from people that don't have any lessons, that they don't have any financial planning agreement with, they don't have any relationship with, they don't have anybody to talk to. And when that happens, that person is much more likely to never get the positive returns of that money. You look at that $1,000 that turned in $9 million. How many people never would have held it that long? Somebody in there gave the money to somebody that inherited it, that wasted it. Another person with $1,000, they did so, because if everybody, and then at that time in 1926, $1,000 was probably a lot. Like they could probably buy a house with $1,000. It's like it was a lot. So $1,000 today seems like, well, they sent out $1,000 to everybody, right? But $1,000, they wouldn't have been able to send out $1,000 to everybody in the United States in 1926. It was different. So when you look at it that way, that $1,000 adjusted for inflation in that graph was $14,000. So today, the government, to send out what was equal to $1,000 in buying power, they would have to send out to every American $14,000. Look at it that way. That shows you that's basically what inflation is. That in order to that $1,000 would buy whatever $14,000 will buy today. So it still wouldn't have bought a house then, I guess, because 14,000 won't buy a house today. But 14,000 back then would, but you'd have to deflate it. And then that would only been $1,000 and it probably couldn't have bought a whole house. But it could have bought, something. Maybe it was like a down payment. But or it was definitely probably a car if they had cars by then. But that's a good way of looking at it though. There were to be $1,000 in 1926 adjusted for inflation is over 14,000 today. And that's what the stimulus checks would have had to be. And you could take that and invest it for 70 years like that graph and imagine what that would be if everybody were able to just take their stimulus check, which I said on the Carl Nelson show after that. And I said, if everybody just took their stimulus check and they just saved it and they developed an emergency fund, and then eventually, when we're able to invest it, like, wow, what a difference it can make in their entire family for generations. If I had a family member that was able to save that, and then we had $9 million in the family, I mean, like we just you don't think about what you as an individual can accomplish if you do the right thing, and then it's able to continue past your lifetime. What we do makes such a big difference. What we do makes such a big difference. Thank you all. So some quick tips before on saving. I want y'all to come in. Y'all come up here with me. On some, and then you can help me through. I have some quick tips, and y'all also on some ways to save money, how you save things, how to cut expenses, and I see it. People are increasing. Yes, Walton. The parable of talents. Be a good guardian over few. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I mean, give it what you do with what you get. It works on that too. That's how it made you think of it again. I said, don't eat out. Don't eat out. I remember when COVID first started, and I started ordering out a lot. You know what I mean? Immediately, I started picking up pounds too. So it's bad in two ways. It's bad because you're spending unnecessary money. And like, today, I started off today, cleaned some cabbage, put it in the pot. Then another client canceled. I put some chicken in the oven. And by the end of the day, I had cabbage and baked chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta do this thing. I say that before that would have been $50 of ordering rotisserie chicken from Arby's, and their stuff doesn't taste as good, and it ain't organic. I got free range organic cabbage. It's not you're not gonna get cabbage without a whole bunch of salt, sugar, and stuff in it. From any restaurant. So definitely. What is some other ways that you save? Um, Shop using a do you use a shopping list? I think that ordering online my groceries, it does help me save money. That because I buy previous things, and that makes me make sure I get essentials. When I go in the store, I definitely spend more than when I buy my groceries online. Would you all agree? Both of y'all are like, none of y'all buy your groceries. Do any of you buy your groceries online? You don't. But do when you go in the store? Oh, that's right. Ms. Otter said stop smoking. Cigarettes are expensive. Yes, in so many ways. Cigarettes cost so much. Google it. There's like a calculator, like if a person smokes one pack, or Mr. Jones said, no, I'm not going to stop. Yes, you are. Paula said it. You got to stop. But that's a good one. I hadn't even thought about that. But make sure you use a shopping list wherever you shop. And then if you have to go out to work, take a shopping list. I mean, if you have to go out to work, make sure you take your lunch. Take your lunch with you to work. So take a shopping list. Check. Oh, what about this one? Like, if you have like a monthly payment for something, a lot of times, especially in business, if you do an annual payment, you save money. Like even with pro economics, the annual membership is a little less expensive than the monthly membership. I think it's like you get 2 months free. So I mean, it does consider annual payments on things, and see if they'll cut those down. If it won't save you money, don't do it. And then get out of stuff that's not needed, like old subscriptions. Like I have Napster. I use Napster, and every time I go, I'm gonna get rid of Napster. I think it's like $15 a month. Like I think I'm the only person that still uses Napster. And every time I go in it, I go, I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna go in there and turn my account off, and I log in, and then I start playing the music again. It's like, I'll do it next month. I'll do it next month. For some reason, I like it. Even though, like, the free services that you can use and you can just listen, the quality of the music is so much better. And I just don't use it enough. So if you don't use it, get rid of it. You don't if you don't use it, get rid of it. Get rid of it. And then y'all can throw out them if you think about it. Oh, somebody told me today they have a membership at the gym, but they don't go. They don't use it. Don't don't pay that. Don't waste your money. Yeah. Like there's someone like, do you have apps on your phone? Paula? Like that, like I'm sure you don't like have any that you pay for. Do you have some you have to pay
The
for?
only one I pay for, and you will absolutely love this one, and I
Good.
recommend it to everyone. It's called Mile IQ. I'll put it in there. I use it during tax time. Even if you're not on net, wherever you go, it'll track your mileage. You swipe one way for personal,
Oh,
one way for business, and you get a report. And you can generate a
okay.
report that you can break down into your business trips versus personal. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's the only one that I pay for.
No. And I would say that's the only way I would keep up with it. Because I remember when I first started my business, I was like, I'm gonna keep up with my mouth. I don't even write it off because that's so hard to keep up with.
I used to get the little
So I
gray
know,
book. Remember the little gray
yeah,
book? You could put
yeah,
it in. But
yeah,
now it's just all on the phone, and
yeah, yeah. I
it
had to
sends me
bring
email. It
everything. Yeah,
generates the
yeah.
report.
But for my like my I have a corporation now, but with the Schedule C, you know what I'm saying? That could really for people who write off their business on their individual return. You know, you should. I'm gonna make sure Michael Robinson
Mile
that
IQ.
he starts using it. How much is it?
I think it might have gone up a little bit. It's like 14 something. About 14
Oh,
something.
look at that. I don't know why that does that. Did you see that? You see me in there. Like it's like me inside my own event. I don't know how I did that. I was like, if I hit this, I wonder what's gonna happen. It did that. But it's like $14. That's deep. But if you use it, it's worth it because you'll
It's
get
great at
back.
tax
Plus,
time.
plus if you have a business, you'll write it off as even the app is tax deductible at tax time. So you do that. Yes, indeed. Free trials. I know that's right. Miss Walton said, mark on your calendar expiration date for free trials. So, is it true? I just go on now and like turn it off. Who said like I just turn it because they seem to like they don't give you up to the last day. Like they charge you. It's kind of like a day or so before they really should have charged you for having it. And it's like, wait a minute, I don't want it. And they're like, no. But and then you have to ask them to give it back. What is the name of the tax program where you can separate the business tax and personal tax? That she was talking about mileage, Mr. Thornton. But yeah, you have to definitely do those things on your own and make sure you sign up for membership and we can definitely address especially on the entrepreneurship membership business taxation and versus personal taxation. That's a great question and you sign up and you can get in the business network as well. You'll enjoy it. Please everybody subscribe to YouTube because I do if anything, when I do random check-ins, those it's usually about some entrepreneurship idea that I'm thinking about. Like check out my video that I did on innovation and complaints and how complaints help us be more innovative. You know, Mr. Jenkins said my cable contract was about to expire and I was able to get the same channels at a lower rate. I love it. Paying bills electronically can be cheaper. I know for me, because that way I don't have to get late fees. I'm like, paying bills online is the greatest thing ever invented, in my opinion. But a lot of people don't like paying bills online. Do you like paying bills online, Miss Spanish? You do? Oh, that's good. That's good. Good for you. I know, but a lot of people don't like. I'm not doing it online, but I think COVID like forced a lot of people who weren't to do it. But make be sure to hit the subscribe button at one point. Like, put this in the record books. We are going to cross 1,000, 3,000. We're going to cross 3,000. I remember when I only had 2 subscribers. Like right now, we're almost to 3,000, and we can do it. I think it's interesting because most of the channels that I look at on YouTube have thousands of, like, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And it's wouldn't it be amazing to see our Afro Economics channel go like to 300,000? Seriously, Paula, you feel me on that? Like, would it be if we be like talking like, do you remember when it was like only 2,000 people? I mean, it is possible, but it's only from us like really wanting to see something happen.
And you
And I
don't have to
think that
twerk or anything. You don't have to twerk.
I was just work, yeah, yeah, nothing like this show, nothing. You know what I mean? Nothing. Just be powerful, and we need to prove that to all entrepreneurs that we can go out there, serve the community, share knowledge, empower one another. You know what I mean? And become, and without cash app, you don't have to put up no money. I'm not asking you to put nothing in the cash app. You don't have any pressure. Nobody's looking more important than the other one. That we can do this. We can do this. Like, so, but I think that would be beautiful. What about emergency broadband, free mobile phone? Wow.
It came out of COVID. It's just on. So now every single wireless carrier is a part of it. So if what
So
it,
like a person has to have that so that everybody can have a phone kind of thing.
but you can
Like,
keep your own phone or your own carrier. It's just that, say, if you're on like Medicare or Medicaid or you get food
yeah.
stamps or what, there's a different criteria. You're eligible. So your plan is either free or $10. It's the same plan. You could have total unlimited, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to change your phone. People should,
Wow.
it's very easy.
But
People
it's
should go in
called
there,
emergency broadband
benefit.
benefit. Like,
Every
wow.
wireless carrier is a part of it.
Wow.
And it's crazy
That's
to
cool.
pay
Is that close?
$50 a
Is that
month when you don't
is
have
that
to.
similar? Yes. Is it similar to like when we used to say Obama phone?
Well, I think it's part of it was part of the it's not the cellular
Oh, but more
one
of
or
like a
something.
COVID thing?
It
Kind
came,
of a
I forget
COVID
what it
thing.
came out. What was that? I forget what the company, I have notes on it, but
But like
it came out of
like
that. And it's
the CARES
also
Act.
because I know when we were in the height of COVID, I was able to get my monthly what am I trying to say? Not my monthly cable, not cable, my
Yeah.
monthly internet services
Okay.
for it
Yeah.
was I think free for the first 3 months and
I
then
love
just
it.
$9.95 a month. And other people are paying
Wow.
50 and 30 and 100 and
Yeah.
you have to when
Yes.
these things come out, you have to jump on them because these are while we're in the midst of the pandemic, this is what is happening. So take advantage of it
Wow.
and save money.
Wow. Wow. But that's why we need to have these conversations, and I appreciate you. Because I remember before COVID, this lady calling me, and I was trying to, a senior, and she didn't have any money, and she needed to have Wi-Fi, and there really weren't no programs at that time. You know what I'm saying? And I wish I knew her. I don't know if she's listening right now, but I just remember I just, she would just call and I would make a point to, help her as much as I could. And I was telling her about, and she applied for one thing and it wasn't approved. And so
It's through
there's,
SafeLink. I saw my
yeah,
notes. It's through
yeah,
SafeLink, but every carrier is a part of it. You don't have to change your phone, your wireless
that's
carrier,
so
none
good.
of that. And
That's
you'll
so
be
good.
saving hundreds of dollars every year.
That's so good. You want to help yourself keep more money, also have a tax strategy. Stop paying so much, you know what I mean, in taxes because you're not taking advantage of saving through work or save or setting up an IRA. And you're thinking, well, I don't want to save it for the future. I want to make sure I have it right now. Well, then you're paying unnecessary taxes on it right now. So talk to me about the difference between tax deferred accounts and taxable accounts as a major way to reduce your expenses. and focus on the power of delayed gratification. I mean, we'll do a whole night on that. Like, but it's powerful. And during challenging financial time, we have to stay focused on all that is in front of us. It's like not time to give up. It's time to focus within and know that I'm doing what I'm doing right now is building a better future. Like, let's just say that you are retired. When you're retired, you have to make sure that you're being very conscious of the importance of protecting your money. You want to protect your investments. You want to protect your investments from taxation. You want to understand your income so that your Social Security isn't taxed unnecessarily. You want to make sure that every move you make, you have to be smarter financially when you're retired than you are really when you're working, because your employer takes care of a lot of stuff while you're working. Would you agree, Miss Spanish? You know what I'm saying? But once you retire,
That's it.
you're the one that's choosing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're the one that's choosing the health insurance. You're the one that's choosing the dental. You're the one that's choosing how to get your your prescriptions. You're the one that's doing. You're doing all of these things, and Medicare and those
Absolutely.
selections are harder than any other health insurance selection that I've ever seen. And I'm licensed in that. So, I mean, that stuff gets so complicated. So, get the help that you need. Afroeconomics for seniors, I think, has an extra value because you have somebody on your side. You just need, so if even if you're a young person and your parents are nearing retirement or in retirement, cover them, get them in a situation with a trusted financial advisor. Consider Afroeconomics. Subscribe to this channel. Get the information that you need. The word says, "Our people shall perish due to lack of knowledge of God and so many things." Mm, we got to get the information that we need. Thank you so much, Paula. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. You've been great. Thank you, Miss Granite. I appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful night. Thank you. Thank you for all your comments. Y'all have been fantastic. This will be recorded for you. It will be on there. And I appreciate you. I'm going to um, make sure we finish off with our video. Y'all have a great night. Thank you, Ms. Neville. I love it. Come on, I want you in the video.
I'm JB Bryan, the creator of Afroeconomics, a strategic financial empowerment program based on 10 timeless financial principles like generational wealth and legacy, financial knowledge, credit confidence, entrepreneurship, self-reliance, and more. Afroeconomics gives you the guidance and tools you can use to develop and sustain wealth. Check out Afroeconomics on your favorite social media platforms. You will find us everywhere. Plus, enjoy my weekly Afroeconomics podcast. There are many levels of Afroeconomics membership, including the free online access membership level called No Excuses. So make no excuses and check out afroeconomics.com today. Powered by JB Bryan Financial Group Incorporated, a registered investment advisory firm. Hashtag Afroeconomics.
Y'all have a great night. Thank you. See you all Friday, if not before. Take care. Be good to yourself. And don't forget to subscribe and share. Subscribe and share. Take care. Bye bye now. Y'all are the best. Oh, you're beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. George. Good night, Queen Howard. Good night, Mr. Jenkins. Good night. Good night. I love y'all.